Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking what is literally the ultimate dynamic duo of our world, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Let's just dive right in. So how do your daily, seemingly isolated choices actually shape the entire globe? I know, it sounds like a massive exaggeration, right? But think about it. The coffee you bought this morning, the software a local business just decided to purchase, or that new infrastructure project greenlit by your city council. These are all gears turning in a vast, highly interconnected system. To truly map out this machine, we have to zoom all the way into the atomic level of the individual and then pull right back to view the entire planet. Okay, zooming in first. Microeconomics isn't just some dry study of small units, it's really the science of individual human behavior. It's observing how we, as consumers, ruthlessly compare products, or how local businesses battle it out for profit margins on a single street corner. It looks at the friction of individual choices and how specific households and companies navigate things like scarcity and opportunity on a day-to-day basis. When we look really closely at this ground level, we see a super complex web of pricing strategies and supply constraints. This is exactly where companies either win or lose, based on their understanding of granular consumer psychology and, of course, fierce market competition. It's all about allocating resources with ruthless efficiency to meet shifting demand, and really getting to the bottom of exactly why people pull out their wallets. Let's consider a real-world example, like a sudden spike in petrol prices. Instantly, behavior mutates. You might swap your daily car commute for a bus ride just to save some cash, right? Meanwhile, a local delivery firm is scrambling to optimize their routes, or maybe even adopt hybrid vehicles to protect their bottom line. It's wild, because one single micro-shift in price dictates immediate behavioral pivots across the board for both the individual and the firm. Now, zooming out, macroeconomics abandons that street corner for the entire hemisphere. Here, we aren't tracking individual delivery drivers anymore. We're tracking aggregate data, central bank maneuvers, and massive geopolitical trade routes. We're stepping back to analyze the big picture of national and global performance, really capturing the momentum of millions of interacting parts. You can think of this as the dashboard, monitoring the sheer horsepower of a whole nation. We're tracking the heavy gravitational pulls of GDP, inflation, and employment dynamics. And we're analyzing exactly how governments and central banks pulled the big levers of fiscal and monetary policy to try and steer the ship. It's a high-level view of how overarching systems either maintain stability or sometimes tip into volatility. So, when inflation runs a bit too hot, central banks essentially weaponize interest rates. By making capital more expensive to borrow, they intentionally cool down spending to force price stabilization. It's basically macro-level engineering designed to secure long-term growth and prevent the whole system from overheating. And that affects absolutely everything, from massive corporate borrowing all the way down to your residential mortgage. Honestly, it's the ultimate trees versus the forest scenario. You can deeply study the health of a specific market or consumer demographic, the tree, but without understanding the overarching inflation rate and the total employment landscape, the forest, your analysis is fundamentally incomplete. Both of these perspectives are absolutely mandatory if you want to understand the economic environment you're actually operating within. And the really crucial point here is that these forces are locked in a continuous feedback loop. Millions of isolated micro-decisions bubble up to shift those national macro trends, while sweeping macro policies rain right back down to reshape the daily reality of every single consumer and business. It's a constant, incredibly dynamic conversation where neither scale operates in a vacuum. When microeconomic efficiency peaks, the compounding effects are almost immediate. Highly productive businesses can slash their prices to stay competitive, which passes the ultimate victory right down to us, the consumers. A ruthless, highly optimized microeconomic environment creates this really strong, vibrant foundation of resilient industries that are just ready to scale up. Simultaneously, when those macro policies are perfectly dialed in, they create a solid bedrock of stability. Keeping inflation under control protects purchasing power, which then sparks hiring, unleashes investor confidence, and ultimately accelerates aggregate economic growth. It essentially provides the safe, stable soil that allows all those microeconomic trees to thrive. So why does this dual lens approach actually matter to you? Well, because sustainable development, and honestly your own financial strategy, relies on balancing this exact scale. Countries and investors that successfully navigate both of these forces are the ones that achieve true long-term prosperity. Mastering this interplay is absolutely what separates reactive observers from informed decision-makers. At the end of the day, economics isn't just about money. It's really the architecture of human progress. Every single purchase you make is a micro vote, and every policy change is a macro shift. So, as you navigate the economy today, I want you to ask yourself, if every micro choice shapes the macro world, what macro trend are you inadvertently starting right now?